It is 3 a.m. in the morning, and it looks like Tom Zebra is just desperate for attention.
Shit is seriously disappointing me. I thought I had all my equipment issues behind me. Maybe I do, because look, it's on. I'm back to the YouTube app. Maybe I can see your comments if I'm lucky. But again, it's 3 in the morning, so I'm mostly going to be talking to myself tonight. If I'm lucky, this conversation I have with myself, maybe I can leave it posted. You know, if I don't make too much of a fool of myself, and if I don't get murdered for the content by the time the sun comes up, maybe it will remain. Hey, I can see comments. Thank you guys for joining me. Techno.
What a victim.
You've probably been here every single time when I was complaining that I can't see the comments. But I can, so that's why I started it. Hi. That's why I started it in the regular app.
In the morning.
Because
Tweaker Tom, Daniel Solomon.
That's important to me, especially tonight. If you read the title, this is. I started this this series, relationship advice for Tom Zebra. I started this about 2 weeks ago. I thought I had the first edition ready to publish, and then I realized I feel like I'm gonna get hit by a car. Hold on. Okay, I'm all right.
And don't get hit by
I realized the amount of problems it was going to cause in my life, so I had to abandon the first episode. So at this odd hour of the night, I just decided, you know what, fuck it. What's the worst thing that could happen? 25 years of my work is thrown out onto the concrete and destroyed before I get back?
2013, it's not
I guess
25
if that's
years.
what happens, that will be the, I guess the chance I have to take,
years.
but I don't expect that to happen.
10 years.
There should be no fucking issues whatsoever. I think the problem I've been having in my personal life
is that you're a stupid ass.
is I've been keeping the fucking shit. The biggest problems that have been preventing me from accomplishing anything in my life, I've been keeping the shit a secret, and that's what's allowed it to go on for so fucking long.
That you're a racist?
I thought I had this. I had my expensive camera and the patchwork to my phone, so I had this elaborate setup. I was trying to get it all to work.
All the gifts
and then suddenly somebody
you.
started throwing comments at me from behind me, and at 3:30 in the morning.
Oh.
I don't know what happened, but I had no fucking patience for that stuff.
Can't handle criticism.
Why am I getting text? Laura, shut the fuck up. You know what? You pissed me off because when I called you earlier and said, about this and that, what did you say? Oh, I wasn't even watching. You were just rambling on. I was rambling on about the most important shit I've talked about my whole life.
Laura Ferraro.
So I come to another conclusion as well.
Criminal.
I've never interrupted anyone's live stream ever in my life for a relevant reason. In other words, when my associates are live streaming, anytime I've ever interrupted them, it was always for a stupid, irrelevant reason that I shouldn't have done. Because there's no reason to distract them if I don't have something important to say. Stop it already. What the fuck are you doing? I'm perfect? Did I just say I'm perfect? I said anytime I've interrupted a live stream, there's never been a valid reason. If anyone's ever interrupted my live stream and it was a valid reason, I don't recall what it was. But it sure as fuck was not tonight. Really? And if you want to talk to me, you can send a message just like anybody else.
No speaking to you. Because you're a fucking lunatic. Look at him, he's tweaking.
And if I was rude, I'm sorry. I'm going through a little something.
Yeah, another.
Thank you.
Another 51-year-old meltdown from a loser on a bicycle.
I just felt like I was like talking about something important to me, And after like I lost the chance to do that,
You got a couple bad comments.
I just realized I don't want to make that mistake again. If somebody happens to be dying in the middle of my live stream, when I'm done with my live stream, they'll still be dying, so I'll get to it after that. How long does a battery last on a cellular
How
phone?
considerate. He's a guy that wished death upon his detractors. Wish they would die. Wish they would hurry up and lose internet access.
So I'm going to change the subject. I'm going to talk about Inglewood Police for a minute because that's where I'm headed.
Here we go. Just like I said, folks.
Not intentionally, I just happen to be
This is
pointing
how
that
I
way.
found out about him. Like, he's always taking credit for a video I shot in 2003.
I'm sure you guys remember. And again, I don't expect the people that happen to be up right now, it's 44 of us right now, right? I don't expect that everybody here is going to have any idea what I'm talking about.
Tweaking.
So it's okay if you don't. Maybe tomorrow or the next day, somebody might come along. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe not.
That's probably a bad idea. You're not important. You're a loser.
It was, I believe, May of 2021 when I think it was myself, Rick, and Laura. I could be wrong. It could have been just Rick and I, but
copyright strikes.
I don't recall for sure. I think it was maybe the three of us. If not, we all became aware immediately. Laura was probably there. Maybe she went home early, you know, before we really discussed it. But a call came over the radio about the alarm going off
Pass.
in the narcotics office at Inglewood Police Department. I never heard of the narcotics office. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it sounds like they might have narcotics in it, and that's probably why they have an alarm. So the only question is, why is the alarm going off in the narcotics office that's located inside of a police station? In other words, it's the most secure location in the state. Why is there an alarm going off at 2:30 in the morning?
I know it's 3:30 in the morning, 3:18 to be honest.
Well, not to worry, folks. It's only us. It's just us. It's us Inglewood police officers. Don't worry about it. We turned it off. That was an accident. We didn't mean to set off the alarm. So Rick and I, we had a few laughs about
Ricky
that.
Pinzone?
But like, imagine, Rick, you know, you and I are just chilling. We're cops. We're at the police station. You know, we're like, fuck. Let's go over there to the narcotics office. There's probably more narcotics than we can consume in a night. Let's give it a shot. See what we can do.
Tweaking.
It was just a joke.
Tweak. It's not a joke.
Within an hour or two, we were recording.
It's on there.
We're recording Deputy Kano, and it's the 1-year anniversary from when he murdered somebody and we caught his ass.
56
and they've
people
hidden the
watching.
video. There's so many things going on that it's really hard to focus on the fact that some Inglewood cops set off an alarm while they were stealing narcotics from themselves.
He's still on
Right?
this shit. Like, it's just,
You know, the
it's
first police
amazing
stop
that
at
he
Rick
still
shouting about the
continues to
narcotics thing. I'm like, Rick, that's unrelated.
that
I
they
was rude to him. I'm like, Rick, shut the fuck up.
uncovered
That's
shit
not related.
like the FBI isn't looking into them.
This is Deputy Kano, in case you forgot. He's the one that like murdered somebody. It's the anniversary. Forget about that narcotic shit.
Wow, we're just
It's not the first time I've been
colluding
wrong.
things together now.
Actually, neither of us was wrong. It's just we were focusing on different things at that exact second.
You should probably stop talking. You should
But we
probably
wouldn't know
stop
that
talking.
until my birthday, which was October 29th
No.
of
You
that
begging.
year. October 29th, 2021.
I need subs. I'm about to lose about 100,000 subs.
A report comes out. Johnny Baca, the 20-year veteran narcotics officer
They didn't do anything
from
to
Inglewood
uncover
Police
this.
Department has been
They're just
indicted
trying to take credit
for distributing
something
cocaine and heroin and every other
Right.
fucking thing. They only brought up the smallest amount of the
But
stuff,
you
okay?
didn't-
There's
none
much
of
more to the story.
Your evidence
I guess they're
was
just being nice to him because he's a cop.
presented.
And we're probably going to get into that. I don't know if we're going to get into it tonight. But there's a lot more that I just did some research and read some documents.
Yeah. He just made some shit up.
I'm gonna change the subject again. And I could be wrong about this. This is my opinion. When you record the police, you know, they arrest you, they do all kinds of fucked up shit, they try to frame you, they do all these things. So when you go home, it's really important when you go home that the people in your house, that they're on your side. You know, like if you go home to people who are pulling the same fucking stupid tricks that the cops are doing, even though they're not cops, it makes it impossible. Okay, just wanted to put that out there. There were some things that became public years ago that somehow I managed to overlook or to try to forget about.
Go on.
But that's why for so many years you haven't heard shit from me, because it's really hard to focus on what's important when you know you don't even have a place to rest your head without being sabotaged. And if I'm lucky, hopefully I could just leave it at that. There's no point. There's no reason for me to get any more specific than that.
No. What about the
as far
child
as my personal
molester
life?
you ran off with? Or the convicted child molester, Richard Kroll.
I get gaslighted when I'm being deposed. You know, when these attorneys are trying to pretend like they're not representing murderers.
Did you
so
realize
when I'm at home, I don't want to be gaslighted from, you know, from my quote unquote loved ones.
Oh, loved ones.
I'm glad I got that out. I can't take it back. I can never take back what I just said. So that means, by that same token, I never have the option to keep that a secret again. Should have done it years ago.
More threats.
You know, but one of the things I do is I promote other people that record the police. You can't promote a cop watcher if you're calling them a gaslighter and pointing out flaws in their character and whatnot. Right?
Huh? Do whatever the fuck I want.
So, I'm still down to promote the people I call my associates.
Don't.
There's no change in that.
Don't.
I'm just no longer down to keep the fucking abuses that I've been putting up with. I'm not keeping that shit a secret ever again. So if you don't like the things I'm saying now, then you need to change your behavior, not complain about mine.
Fuck off. Fuck off, you fucking racist.
But yeah, it's the middle of the night. And apparently I needed someone to talk to. Isn't it kind of fucked up that for me to have somebody to talk to, I have to ride my bicycle and talk to my phone to strangers?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty sad.
Now, the reality is, I'm grateful to have that.
Oh, really? Really? You're 59
because the problems or issues that I have,
at 3:25
the things that
a.m.
bother me, you can't like vent that on one person and then feel better. It's like, you know what I mean? Like some things you have to talk about it for a long time before you start to feel better. And if you're talking to one person, they can't absorb all that shit. So hopefully between all of you, maybe one of you will understand what I'm saying.
Please forgive this guy who's a doxer,
and not hold it against me.
Organized criminal gang member who threatens to kill, provides a
so
platform
earlier tonight,
to kill cops.
Hi, how are you? When my stream shut down, I was trying to not cry. I was talking about how I got hit by a car. I don't have anything to cry about. I'm very fortunate.
You're not fortunate. That's the whole point.
You know, I knew for 20 years, I knew secretly, I might have discussed it, but I knew I was going to get hit by a car, and that's how I was
ching, 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 ching,
ching,
ching,
die.
go away,
Maybe that
money.
still will be. I'm
Chili,
not sure, but I feel
Chili's
like I was given an opportunity. And look, I'm out here without my helmet.
I need that Chili algorithm. Chili.
You know, I barely got hit at all, but I still got knocked out.
Tell us a story.
Had to get staples in my head, just barely. I had the option to get no staples. I could have got nothing and just left.
But
But
you
he
always
thought
ride
maybe I
your
should get
bike
3
in the
staples.
middle of the road.
That's the smallest injury
not-
I've ever sustained in my life, and still went to the hospital. So
How's
that's how
that
lucky I
healthcare?
was.
Is that health plan for the? So you went there on the taxpayer dollar? You owe money for that. How's that retirement
But at
plan?
the time, I was like just
OG
getting over struggling
Daniel
with my health. I was
Solomon,
back on my feet.
Tom Zebra, the original cop watcher, the one who takes credit for Inglewood 2002.
I felt like I was, given another chance, like to pay attention, because next time, there might not be a next time.
There will never be a next time. I promise you.
So Ricky Monday and I analyzed this police report. It's not hard to see what's going on. There's a cop that's got a bunch of drugs. According to him, he's got unlimited amounts of black tar heroin. He's got 5 pounds of China white heroin. He's got 5 pounds of cocaine. And these narcotics, they've been lingering, so he should try to get them right now while the getting's good, because you never know, next month if they're gone, they might not be available. That's not how a narcotics dealer talks. When you sell narcotics, you move your supply every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have, if you're dealing drugs, you do not have drugs that linger around. And next week, next month is going to be the same as today. It's always a good time to buy drugs when you're talking to a person that sells drugs. They don't say, get it now while the getting's good. That's a cop talking about drugs that he didn't purchase. In other words, that don't belong to him, that he stole from the rightful owner, that they sent to prison. At least that was my opinion at the time. I read through the documents. If all that isn't bad enough, Johnny Baca from Inglewood Police, he's got a grow house where there's a bunch of illegal aliens that he has living there. They're growing his marijuana for him to sell. And every time he picks up the weed, he rips the employees off. He doesn't pay them what they're supposed to be paid. So every time they threaten them, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna call the police on you if we have no choice. You're not paying us. We're gonna call the cops." And Johnny's like, "No, you're not gonna call the cops because you guys are illegal aliens." Of course, these people have no idea that Johnny Baca is a narcotics officer. They think he's a drug dealer. And he is a drug dealer. Just, he's a cop as well. Now, I don't care if you're Satan himself. If you have a grow house and you've employed illegal aliens to work in your grow house to take care of your marijuana so you could come and pick it up and sell it, what kind of piece of shit doesn't pay his employees? And I don't care what country they're from. What kind of piece of shit rips off his own employees under the guise of, you're not going to call the cops because you'll get in trouble if you do that? What kind of fucking asshole does that? If you can't think of one, I'll tell you. Johnny Baca from the Inglewood Police Department, and he's not alone because he's not the mastermind or anything else.
So disappointing. It really is disappointing. Most of all, it's disappointing.
Maybe we get a chance to talk about who's behind all this, but I can tell you we're coming up to a barbecue place where Rick and I happened to be having lunch when we started discussing Mayor Butts. Mayor Butts was a narcotics detective back in the 80s.
Such a conspiracy.
and the 90s, whatever. As far as I'm concerned, he's still a narcotics detective, whatever that means to you. He's a thief, among other things. At this point, looks like he's dying of old age, so it's kind of irrelevant anymore. Maybe a miracle that he still got elected again, being such a criminal, but my guess is, the crimes he committed were back in the 80s when he was a cop working at the Forum in Los Angeles, when the Los Angeles Lakers were winning championships.
Run for office.
No doubt about it. The people that were smart were getting their cocaine from Mayor Butts. And he wasn't Mayor Butts at the time. He was just a black cop that apparently had good deals on cocaine. I've never bought drugs from him.
What? Wait, what?
But, maybe some of you guys remember.
He said what?
Rick and I barely brought him up for the first time.
And never bought drugs from Rick?
And the police,
Pinzon?
The officer that represents the police union, what's his name? Something Ramirez. He and his trainee drove by. We looked right at them, they looked right at us. And we were so arrogant, we're like, don't even look this direction, motherfuckers. That's what Rick and I, as they drove by, we're like, don't even look this fucking direction, losers. Because that's the kind of stupid shit we say. And they kept going, so apparently it works. Anybody remember what I'm talking about? We were right there in that fucking
parking lot. They know when you interact, like, obviously they're going to know when they watch.
I think it took them about 45 seconds before they came back in.
This would be the first time I've ever...
They handcuffed us, supposedly because we had open containers. Which is kind of unusual because you guys know my friend Malcolm and all the people. I haven't been in this neighborhood. I don't hang out anymore over here since Malcolm died. Because I just
kicked the fuck
first
out.
I don't live here anymore either. But
yeah.
But when the homeless people in this neighborhood, if they're being harassed for their open containers and are fortunate enough to be close by, I stop by and I'm like, hey, give that. If it hasn't been dumped, I can just say, give that back to him. He doesn't have a house. This is his house. You're not taking his drink.
He's so much like
and they
Eric
acknowledge
Grant.
and they give him back their drinks.
He's such a hero.
So
folks.
it was very unusual that they came over here
this guy.
and actually took my drink.
In the most sarcastic
I just opened it.
possible.
It's the morning time.
It's
Mayor Butts
3:34.
barely slipped out of my mouth.
I'm giving a narration.
We didn't even know Rick and I didn't even know where we were going with that yet.
Yeah.
At this point, thinking back, I don't even know why I was talking about Mayor Butts.
Fucking L after L.
I'm sure it was like I was trying to retaliate. One of the sergeant, there's a black sergeant, I forget what his name is, but he did some, how are you?
Why is it important?
He did some stupid shit that upset me. So I was going to target Mayor Butts.
It says the N-word on SoundCloud.
But his name barely come out my mouth, and suddenly I'm in handcuffs. And it wasn't about the beers, because once they cuffed us, they have no reason to even know we're doing a live stream, right? They walked over, went in, grabbed his phone, and turned it off.
Conspiracy. Oh yeah.
In other words,
tweaking.
The union representative from Inglewood Police Department is so closely associated with Mayor Butts that if you say something negative about him, if you talk about him breaking the law, he's going to come to you.
Open containers in the middle
and at the very least, if you're live streaming, he's going to put that to a stop.
Spin. God, this is why? This hurts my brain so fucking
I don't know
much.
if anybody is paying attention. If anybody has access to Pacer, there's a website. It's called Pacer. You could type in things like Johnny Baca, and when you do,
or Tom Zebra, Daniel
you'll see
Solomon,
the filings
or
and whatnot.
Jody Casillas
You'll see what's going on in this case.
Daniel Solomon. Or
I'm
like
gonna, say
Ricky
the things that I know and what I read the best I can from my memory. as I'm headed towards Inglewood Police Department.
Ferraro.
But if somebody were to like copy and paste, there'd be no question about how accurate the things I'm talking about are. They're facts.
Leech.
I hope it makes a little bit of sense what I was saying about when you go home, you need to know the people that are in your home or in your corner, because when it's at work, everybody's trying to frame you and fuck you up and ruin your life or kill you or make sure somehow that you're silenced by tomorrow. You know, it's just beneficial when you go home that the people there are looking out for your best interest, right? Because otherwise, how are you going to go to sleep?
I think you just told on yourself.
So there's some humor in this as well.
I guess so.
I've got a whiskey with me, by the way. I need to have a sip. I have a really dry mouth right now.
You said too much.
It's not hard, you know, to look at the language that was in the indictment. And everything is like, there's only one way to read it. It only makes sense. There's only one way it makes sense, okay? There's some other people that report on this type of stuff.
Wow, that's fucking amazing.
I want to get the name right, but I'm probably not. It's like the two girls, but I know that's not what it's called. Two girls. It's like two black women. They're in Inglewood. That's not the name of the channel, but it's close. Somebody probably has seen it.
Two cups.
Paste our website, research. Yes. But a lot of times they come up with facts that I have no way to get. I go to their channel, especially when there's current news that's important to me. If it's related to Inglewood, a lot of times, there's some people that I guess work in Inglewood, some cops most likely, that communicate with them. And so, even though there's a lot of times where the information they give to them, a lot of times it's not true, especially when the police kill someone or whatever. They'll go ahead and print the lies and pretend like it's true because a cop said it.
Wow.
But
okay.
I'm not trying to criticize them.
I'm trying to hold you to that.
Because without them, I would have no idea that Mayor Butch was paying Johnny Baca from his campaign funds. Right? I would have no way in the world to know that. If I go to Inglewood Police Department, they won't even let me in the city hall, okay? They certainly are not going to start giving me records of Mayor Butch's crimes. That's just not going to happen.
But you're not a journalist.
So not only do they get this information, two urban girls, is it two urban girls? Something like that. Two urban girls. That's very close if it's not accurate. But they didn't just put the document out there for Mayor Butch, read it and weep. Instead, they accused him of having paid Johnny Baca. And so Mayor Butch is so stupid, he's like 6 a.m, he's online, he's saying, I demand a retraction. You guys are constantly, whatever, he tried to make some official language saying that they are constantly slandering him and they have a pattern of libel, is that how you say it? And they're going to be sued if they don't put a retraction and blah, blah, blah. Instead of a retraction, then they printed the document where you could see Johnny Baca's campaign.
Such a victim.
What is it called? The records from his campaign, I don't know why. It was listed as paraphernalia, which I thought that was suspicious, but it's not, because you only have so many options. One of them happens to be campaign paraphernalia. And so that's what he labeled it as.
He knows he lied about Inglewood.
$2,000 to Johnny Baca for campaign paraphernalia. But Johnny Baca, he doesn't sell campaign paraphernalia. He sells drugs. But so does Mayor Butch. since the 80s, right? 80s, 90s. He's been selling. Mayor Butts, he was a detective in the 80s. This guy's been selling and stealing and arresting people. For 50 years, this guy has been
journalist something
using the law for his personal benefit.
I think that's weird, yeah, that you do that. He's tweaking, dude. He's fucking tweaking. It's almost 4 in the morning.
You know, what is that called? Steal from the poor and put in my pockets that are already overflowing. That, you know, that I don't even know where to put all this money.
I'd like to point out that he hasn't gotten any donations.
And I think I might have missed the most important points. I might not have expressed them yet.
I consider that a victory, but also it'll.
Did I mention that Ricky and I heard the alarm going off? It's coming over the radio. You know, we hear a lot of times we could just tune it out, right? We have the radio going in the background all the time because regardless what we're doing, we're trying to catch the police or record them or document it, whatever it is. So if we don't have the radio going in the background, we're being lazy. And this, I think it was like 2:30 in the morning or something.
Radio encrypted because of you guys.
Not only does the call come over the radio, but there's an alarm going in the background. I've heard alarms go off before, like a car alarm, right? It's not totally unheard of for a business, sometimes they respond to an alarm going off at a business.
Or when you're trying
to
create.
But this one is going off inside the police station at 2:30 in the morning at the narcotics office. And if that's not bad enough, the guys that got on the radio and they're like, oh, it's just us, everything. Don't worry, it's just us. It just didn't sound right. Something is wrong with that shit. This is May 4th. So on October 29th, the story comes out. Johnny Baca, and not just a story about him getting arrested, but they've been recording his conversations. This guy's ripping off his employees.
Whatever takes your attention out the fact that
distributing pounds and pounds of heroin to Las Vegas in his last shipment. Got confiscated because like I said, they've been recording his conversations.
And they didn't do
his
anything
last
to
kilo
discover this.
Just locally got confiscated.
Story
and the conversations they captured
leeches
just show that there's a lot of things going on. First of all, the guy that he's using as a runner has been working for him for 6 years. He wasn't just working with Johnny Baca, but he was signed on with the sergeant from Inglewood Police Department. Okay, it was Johnny Baca's, supposedly his informant, but he's signed off by a sergeant that's also in the narcotics division. And also that means the lieutenant who's in charge of narcotics in Inglewood is also aware that they have a guy he's listed as a confidential informant, but he has no criminal record. In other words, he's never gotten arrested. This is not a person who signs up to be a confidential informant. There's some prerequisites for you to be a confidential informant. That means you got arrested and you're doing whatever it takes to try to not go to prison. You don't just go to the police station and be like, hey man, I heard you guys pay the best rates. I want to sell drugs. You guys hiring? Because that's what happened. So not only is Johnny Baca involved, for 6 years they've been using this informant. And they have not a single record, not one transaction listed. I didn't know all these details until, I learned a lot of this from this incident. Apparently, an informant, anytime they do anything, it's documented, right? Because they're going to be paid or they're going to be given leniency, and cops are criminals, so they have to document it. Well, in 6 years, not a single thing was documented. But strangely enough, they arrested this guy in Las Vegas with 3 kilos of heroin. They went to his house, found a kilo of, what's the shit everyone's saying is so dangerous? If you look at it, your eyes will pop out. He had a kilo of that shit. Another, kilos of random things in his backyard that were buried.
With a fucking convicted child. That's fact. He called Richard Cole for a ride back to LA.
we come to the conclusion that
He's a
Johnny
piece of
Baca,
shit.
he's been a drug dealer for at least 6 years. Some of the guys he's been working with, as I disclosed in some of my videos, they've been driving the exact same car, the same number on the side, with no license plate on that car for, like, as far as I know, what I've documented, 7 years this cop has been driving a car with no license plate, which at the time, I don't give a fuck. I'm not the DMV police. That's these weak-ass punk bitch cops. That's what they do. They're the DMV police. They pull people over and harass them if they're $5 late on their DMV. I don't give a fuck about the DMV. I ride a bicycle.
Sovereign citizen.
But when Baca got arrested, that was one of the things in his indictment. He's driving a Ferrari with no license plate. He's driving a Maxima with no license plate. And he's delivering drugs in these cars. And now he's indicted and in prison, or arrested at least. So now I'm looking, I'm like, wait a minute. This guy here's tearing people's cars apart. For 7 years, I've been watching him rip people's cars apart. He doesn't have a fucking license plate. That's good enough for me, right? They're not going to let me go inside the station and conduct my investigation. I have to take what I could get. Johnny Baca's a drug dealer with no license plates. He works with this guy for at least the last, as long as I've known him. He has no license plates. These guys are fucking drug dealers, okay?
Yeah.
And I
agree.
I told
Ricky Monday, Ricky Pinzon, Laura Sharp.
Can't remember the sergeant's name. He's a black guy.
Jody Casillas.
Him and I, like all these people, I get along with them great. But I'm not going to suck their dicks like Miss Weis would. I'm going to tell the truth about them.
See, that's what I'm talking about. This dude is so up in his own paranoia.
If somebody can help me with the guy's name, the sergeant. I'm sure some of you guys know it. I just can't remember it. But I told him, I'm like, why is this guy driving with no fucking license plate? He's like, oh, don't blame us for that's the mechanic. I'm like, bullshit. He's driving with no license plate today, but I just looked at my videos, my records. This man has been driving with no license plate for 7 fucking years now.
It's 4
and his fucking coworker just got arrested for distributing narcotics with no license plates. And he's like, oh, tried to change the subject. And I like your tandem bicycle, very nice. I'm like, yeah, but you heard what the fuck I said. Put a license plate on the car. He tried to ignore it. The deputy's name is Swanson. That's the guy who I've recorded for years, tearing people's cars apart out here, and he's got no license plates the whole fucking time.
Oh, he's feeling himself now.
So he's getting in the car. I'm like, Swanson, put a fucking plate on the car, drug dealer. You know, if you don't put a plate on that car, you're never going to be anything but a drug dealer.
And like,
so he didn't put a plate on the car, but
totally
what he did
Black
do,
Lives
a
Matter
month
now.
later, he murdered a guy.
He knows that's where the audience is.
Not far from here on Eucalyptus. The guy, the person he killed,
but he's the right
he's got schizophrenia, but he's got a family that loves him dearly. He didn't do anything wrong. The kid's name is Alexis. He struck up a conversation with Swanson, and he told him, it's nice to meet you. And instead of responding, Swanson walked out to his car, and he said, I'm going to use force. I need backup. And so there's sergeants, there's all kinds of cops coming, right? But Swanson just waits for the first one to come.
I don't even know what the fuck he's talking about.
And they shot the guy like 6 times in the back.
I don't even know
what does that have to do with being a drug dealer? I don't know, actually, because
you just make shit up.
I'm not going to say that I ever sold drugs, but let's just pretend for a minute that I did.
You know a lot about it. Why would they do this?
Any success I may have had being a drug dealer, I never shot anybody.
Congratulations.
This is hypothetical. I never shot anybody. And if anyone ever robbed me, in case you didn't know, when you start to become successful as a drug dealer, you don't just get robbed by the police, but everybody turns on you because everybody's trying to take what you have. Because you're an easy target. You can't call the cops.
Oh.
Right? If you're a drug dealer and you have a lot of money in drugs and someone robs you, you can't call the police. This is just what I've heard. I'm pretty sure it's accurate, though.
Totally accurate.
But I guess if you're a cop and you're a drug dealer, you just shoot people for fun.
This is fucking disturbing, folks. Yeah. Bud Light. Yeah. 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 4 in the morning.
I do understand that every
cubes.
single one of you has to go to work in the morning. So I won't take it personal. I appreciate you hanging out with me for whatever time that you can.
All 56 of you.
Well, what I appreciate the most, you guys have no idea how hard it was. I don't know what the problem was, how I was getting sick. I guess I had undiagnosed sleep apnea or something. When I go to bed now, I have to hook a bunch of shit on my face like an astronaut so I can sleep properly.
You're a hero.
And I just thought I snored.
Okay,
I knew I snored.
Iron
I didn't know
Man.
that it was like causing problems with my health, but it was. Apparently, if you go like 10 years without sleeping, it causes problems with your health. And if you have sleep apnea, like the way I did, I never slept for more than like 30 seconds, ever. So it wouldn't matter if I slept 24 hours, I never got more than 30 seconds of continuous sleep.
Oh, man,
And I think
hope
that's
you
why I
remix
was getting
this.
sick and not getting...
God damn, yeah.
It's hard for me to talk about it.
Yeah. It's hard for me to
I'm a
process
softie
your
like that. If I
bullshit.
talk about anything that's kind of important to me, it's hard for me to talk about it without like tearing up.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Donate. Not a single donation, folks. Not a single
But
donation.
but my future is possibly looking bright again. You know, I diagnosed this problem that I didn't know I had. Look, I'm back on my feet. I'm on my way to Inglewood Police Department. That's only a coincidence. I only came back out here because I needed to get out of my house.
Jody kicked you out again?
Because I've been living with someone who, you know, I'm gonna be in so much trouble for talking about it, but you know, she
Jody
hasn't been on
Casillas?
my team. There's been things that have been discussed before that I'm not gonna bring up again.
Oh, damn.
You know, but just
Oh, damn. See, this is why you can't do live
and
streams,
look,
man.
I'm not even mad. I'm not mad about any of that shit. I don't care. It's fine. If I'm the one to blame, I'm the one that allowed it. I put up with it. The only thing that matters to me is not putting blame on anything from the past. The only thing that matters to me is going forward. I have 100,000 videos that I've made that somehow I need to publish. That's never going to happen in my lifetime. It's impossible. The videos I've recorded, I'll never be able to publish. So I don't want to spend another 5 years having fake fights over fake shit.
You will.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all kinds of real things to fight about. Why am I stuck fighting about fake shit from someone that's gaslighting me?
Gaslighting you. Gaslighting you.
And the answer is because I allowed it. I put up with it.
Okay.
But no hard feelings. Just going
Nobody's
forward.
jealous of you.
I'll take my gaslighting from Olivia Weis or the cops or whoever. But if you're
Can't handle
gaslighting me in my house
criticism.
tomorrow, something's gonna have to give, because that's not gonna be going on anymore. You can still stay there, but I'm just not gonna. I mean, it's not my house; it's our house. She paid for it equally, but I'm just saying. Look, you could find someone else to gaslight, right? Doesn't have to be me. And I don't even have anything to take. If you're gonna gaslight, pick a more worthy target. I'm not a good one. I have more important things to do.
Nothing you do is important.
And that said, I'm gonna try to not ever bring that shit up publicly again. If I can avoid it, I'll never bring that up for the rest of my life. If I bring it up again in 5 minutes, I'm sorry, but that's where I'm at. I'm gonna try to not bring that up again. And even though I'm headed to the Inglewood Police Department, I'm hoping that I find something to distract me, because it's not like they're going to be throwing out the red carpet and inviting me in.
In the morning.
But let's talk about the new events. What I've recently read about Johnny Baca. The first thing, at first I was really excited. I had to use the dictionary, what is it called? IE? Not just like a internet search, but this IE, whatever, is supposed to maybe give you some insight when you can't find it otherwise.
Huh. You mean Ricky
Apparently
Monday?
there's something, I probably can't remember all the terms. One of them is called the safety valve. There's something called the safety valve, and it's not plumbing, okay? So, and this, it doesn't make any sense to me, because
Talk about me.
if I'm arrested with pounds of narcotics, I already know what's going to happen. Okay, that's why I don't sell drugs. If I ever did do it,
You know a lot about
if
it.
I ever was involved in that shit, I knew the entire time what the
They're coming
consequences
for a
were,
fucking DJ at rave.
and
You
that's
are
why I
a
don't
drinker.
fucking do it.
Like
It's at a certain point, there's nothing left for you to accomplish.
You're an organized
Every single
criminal
person
gang.
that you know, even the people that pretend like they're your friends, in one way or another, they are all trying to steal what you have from you. Okay? It doesn't matter who your best friend is.
Rub your nose again.
At some point, your valuables
lips are all
worth
white.
more to him than you are. Okay? And my personal experience, I'm going to tell you, that value is very low. Okay, people, I've read elsewhere, not for my opinion, but I've read that you can expect that people will murder you for $400. I haven't actually experienced that. That sounds like a little bit low to me.
Oh,
How are you?
wow. See, this is
I'm pretty
kind
sure
of
if somebody
gas-
would
this
murder
is
me for
gaslighting.
$400, I would have died, many times before I probably turned 10. But
Reach
but
out
I
to
think
their
that's just-
subscribers to make sure
that was some
something
shit
like
the
that
government
happens.
wrote. I don't know what the point was. Put
Yeah,
your money
you
in the
don't.
bank, maybe.
Yeah, you meant to threaten to kill.
But I've had friends
4 a.m.
break into my house and rob me before. These are
what?
friends that I've grown up with, that I've known my whole life. That are
You broke
my
into
best
my
friends.
house. Spin.
And I've forgiven them. These are still my good friends. I've forgiven them because we grow up, we move on, and things that may have seemed important
Oh, hell
a whole lifetime ago, they're not important now.
no. They're very important.
Unless you're Johnny Baca.
Oh, yeah, Johnny Baca.
But Johnny Baca is having second thoughts too. Okay, he's besides this safety valve thing, a safety valve.
We're
All I
over
could
the
gather
place.
is for cops to get out of their crimes. Attorneys know what it is. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But there's something else called the proffer agreement. Like you proffer. I looked it up in the dictionary, and that word still makes no sense to me. But I'm going to try to explain it the best I can.
He's a prophecy.
If you make a deal with the government,
he's the original.
and that word proffer is in there, that
His
means
way is the way.
you are going to tell the government everything you've done wrong. You're going to confess all your sins. And if you leave out if they find out you left a single detail out because you were trying to protect yourself or protect your associates, then that means everything you said was for nothing, because they don't have to give you a deal.
So telling.
You're saying all
What's
this
that?
shit just because you're desperate and you're praying, crossing your fingers. Please, please let me fucking go home instead of spending my life in prison, right? You're not in a position to bargain in these proper agreements. That's the way I understand it. So Johnny Baca, he's been out. He spent maybe 5 months in custody before he was released. He had to put up,
More than you.
I think he put up over $1 million in collateral. He put up like $250,000 cash, several
This dude
properties,
dances around the issue at hand.
to
That's why I
secure
always
his
think
release.
it's funny. That's why I think I have never-ending content.
But here's the thing. Now he's made a motion He's fine with being out and being free, and he's got an ankle bracelet, or at least he did. He's on house arrest, but he's allowed to go to church. He's allowed to go to his workers' compensation hearings. I think there's some other things he's allowed to do as well. And the truth is, he might be free as a fucking bird. They probably don't even monitor his anklet. But they just made a motion. I'm gonna explain the motion to you. My explanation of this is gonna be pretty accurate. Johnny he's fine with all the terms, only he wants to change just a couple things. He wants to take the ankle bracelet off. He doesn't want to be on house arrest anymore. Huh? He wants his $250,000 cash back. He wants to put that back in the bank or wherever in his pocket. Maybe he wants to pay the employees that he's been robbing, the illegal alien employees that he's been robbing for decades that are growing his platform. But I doubt it. That's probably not what he wants that money for. Thank you.
Money.
And what else? Oh, also he wants the $1,100,000 in collateral from his properties. He also wants all that back too. So in other words, everything that he posted to be released for collateral, for bail, whatever you want to call it, he just wants all those things returned to him, and he wants his freedom.
Wow.
And of course he does.
Broken nose.
We all want our freedom. Look, I read the sad story about his, he's got daughters going into high school.
Huh?
That's a big part of what I do. I'm not out here advocating for innocent victims and recording the police because I want people to go to jail. My position is people shouldn't be locked in a cage, and that includes Johnny Baca. Even though he deserves it more than anybody he's ever arrested over his 20-something year narcotics career, still, a cage is not a good place for human beings, or dogs, or cats. So I'm going to tell you about his proffer agreement. This is his proffer agreement, or whatever the details.
God damn, dude.
This is off the top of my head.
Nearly an
I'm
hour.
not going to be. I'm trying to exclude, the more personal details because that's how nice of a guy I am. I'm not going to go into his wife's employment or anything like that, even though she should probably be in prison too, according to, the standards he uses for everybody else. But here's his version of a proffer agreement. Hi, good morning.
Oh, yeah, good morning.
When I was a little kid, my dad had polio and he had to walk with these crutches and it was really embarrassing. When my friends came over, I was always worried they would make fun of him or say a disparaging remark to him. It was horrible. And I was playing sports and one time I broke my wrist. That's it. That's it. And also his kids are going to school. And he doesn't know where his income's going to come from anymore now that he allegedly lost his job. And, right? Because that's what happens when you get arrested for distributing large quantities of narcotics all over the country, is you tend to lose your job, your financial security, and, people never see you again, right?
Yeah. What are you insinuating?
So how's that a fucking proffer agreement? What I just said. His dad had polio, and one time he broke his fucking wrist. So, according to his attorney expects Johnny, based on his opinion, he shouldn't be sentenced to more than anything more than 9 months on a case that should send anyone else to prison for the rest of their life. But since he said his dad's got polio and he broke his wrist, I guess that relieves him of any wrongdoing.
Is that why?
Is that shocking? I would have never stopped selling drugs if I could just say, oh, wait. I broke my wrist one time, yeah. Plus, my dad, did I tell you? He had crutches one time. Shit, that was so embarrassing. Can I have my money back? Can I have that stolen money back, please? I was going to spend that on myself.
Yeah.
Now,
she's a criminal defense.
If Johnny would have talked about some people that he arrested, people he stole freedom from, maybe the people that he fucking murdered that were not guilty of a crime. If he had talked about that shit,
yeah, he said murderer.
I still would have said he's a fucking no good piece of shit, been stealing from the community. But he didn't talk about those things.
Oh.
He didn't talk about anything relevant. And apparently, if you're a cop, that's okay. He could probably come back to Inglewood. I'm sure that, you know, if they have a bunch of narcotics over here that he needs to deliver. And in case you're wondering, that's why Mayor Butts writes Baca a check for $2,000. Because Baca, all he's doing is delivering it. It's not his drugs. I mean, well, fuck, it could be, as far as I'm concerned, right? If you're stealing drugs, whoever steals it, I guess it's theirs.
Dude,
but
this is sad, dude.
Since Mayor Butts,
this is sad.
I think it was, the last record, I don't know if it was 2013 or 12.
It really
it's
is
a long
sad.
time ago, but you know, that just demonstrates these guys have been selling narcotics for a very long time. Baca's been selling.
It's
I mean,
so obvious, right? Like, do I
Mayor
really
Butts,
have to keep
it's disgusting
pointing
to
this
call
out?
Mayor Butts. You know, he was also
Why is this guy on
stealing
everybody's
property
radar?
for these real estate. And he's just a criminal in general, and I'm fine with that too. He doesn't steal for me, right? Like I said, I'm not advocating for anyone to go to prison. But when Baca is crying about his dad and a broken wrist, and he's so close to his mother, you know, he's really close to his mom. Who gives a fuck? Everybody is close to their mom. And you sent all those people to prison, Johnny Baca, you piece of shit. How dare you cry about your fucking self after you sent all these people to prison and you don't say a fucking word about the innocent people that you robbed for your personal benefit.
He's a weirdo, dude. He's a fucking weirdo.
This is shit I used to bring up, you know, 10 or 12 years ago. I would make videos where I record and document police seizing narcotics, and I would ask them, what are you doing with the drugs? Great, okay, so you're taking this person, okay, you say they committed a crime. Great, so you're gonna put them in a cage. I just wanna know what's gonna happen to the drugs. I've never got a straight answer to that question. In over 20 years I've asked it, I've never got the same answer twice, and usually I get no answer at all. They're like, oh, I can't really talk about that, right? Well, now we know. According to Johnny Baca, this is how it works in the city of Inglewood.
It's
He offers a 20% commission. You tell him it doesn't have to be drugs. He'll steal money too. You know somebody that's got a large amount of money, a large amount of narcotics, you tell him the information, he'll rob the people, and this is a quote, at a routine traffic stop, him and his team will rob the people, and they will give you 20% of the proceeds to keep for yourself.
This is so weird.
Now, I was pretty disappointed Inglewood never did make a comment on this case. But now that we have, I mean, I basically disclosed this shit anyways, but I didn't have the actual verbiage.
Is this over?
Where Johnny Baca explains to people, you get a 20% commission, give me the information, me and my team will rob these motherfuckers at routine traffic stops.
Oh,
now,
big hero.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, man, that's
Now that sounds
Daniel
like a pretty good deal if you got no morals, right? Like if you're a thief, a criminal, a drug. I'm not gonna say a drug dealer because you know what?
Because you are one.
You know, if I was ever a drug dealer, you know how I never got in trouble? Because I never fucking killed anybody. I never robbed anybody.
If
I was ever robbed, I wrote it off. If a customer of mine were to rob me, that's fine. Great. You don't get to see me again because 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, you are going to want to see me again, and you will never get the opportunity, you know, to do something stupid, and it would always be over some petty shit. They just didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, nobody remember that.
They start to mature into adults. They start to realize how important connections are.
No.
Because without connections, you might end up buying drugs from Johnny Baca.
What? He's like, infiltrated.
But as it turns out, he's the only place that I know of in Southern California. If you get caught with Johnny's drugs, you're dealing his drugs, he tries to get you out of prison or out of jail. He tries to negotiate your release before your case goes to court.
No. That seems...
And he was well on his way.
That's where I don't believe you.
The guy, I forget the guy's name, it's kind of hard. It's an unusual name. It's like Economo. His last name is something like Economo.
That's
It's a weird name. He's
full of shit.
He's like a foreigner or something. Okay?
That's where I think you're full
But
of
Johnny
shit.
Bacco was on the phone to the Las Vegas police constantly saying, hey, I know,
412
we can try to work this off, try to make a deal, whatever. He's got some things going on out here. We need him back. He's trying to get his runner out of jail. And that's why his runner was able to successfully deal drugs for Baca for 6 years, because sure, it's possible that they never got pinched the whole time, but it wouldn't have mattered if they did get pinched, because Johnny Baca, apparently he's a man of his word. If you're dealing his drugs, he'll try to get you out of jail. Only one problem. This time, there's a wiretap on his telephone, and the feds called the number that Johnny kept calling, asking, trying to get his guy out.
Oh.
And so they're like, hey, this is the FBI. Who's this? And they're like, Las Vegas police. And they're like, so were you getting phone calls from Johnny Baca? Because he's under investigation and on his way to prison.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, oh, yeah. He has been calling me. And he's been quite a nuisance. Now that you bring it up, I've been meaning to bring that to your attention, because he's been bothering me, keeps calling, and I don't want nothing to do with this guy. Especially now that we understand where he's headed. Baca would have got his guy out of jail if the feds didn't step in.
That's the problem. You
And they were nice to him.
Anything.
They're only charging Baca for the 1 kilo. Okay? The 3 kilos of heroin, the kilo of that other drug that I don't remember, like the one where they made fake videos, pretending like police overdosed just by looking at it, that drug. Baca was distributing all this shit. Not just around Los Angeles, but all over the fucking country. And so when I say Baca, what I mean is these guys,
I say that
Inglewood Police
it hurts
Department.
my brain.
Okay?
Like you have nothing.
And I know this sounds strange when I say this. People don't believe me. These people are my friends, okay? Just because they've unlawfully arrested me, stole my cameras, and deleted my videos, and sent me to court for up to 5 years at a time on a bogus case, that doesn't mean they're not my friends. It just means I still have more work to do.
It means you're stupid. And you have even, you found the people that are more stupid than you. I think I got the name right.
2 urban girls. According to them, Johnny Baca's partner immediately retired and moved on to bigger and better things. I don't know who Johnny Baca's partner is. I'm sure I have videos of him, but I don't remember. I have tens of thousands of videos. How am I going to find? I may have recorded them and not asked his name. I have no idea. I do not recall meeting Johnny Baca. I don't recall the name until it came out in the paper. But now we know.
Yeah,
so I had already explained clearly, Baca was not doing this by himself, because when the alarm went off, and okay, so I'm going to snitch on somebody right now that I haven't snitched on before. The night the alarm went off, Baca, it wasn't Baca that broke into the narcotics office. I know this because he's an officer, he's not a sergeant. The person on the radio, they said, oh, it's just us. That's Sam 41. That's the sergeant. He goes by Sam 41. He's the same sergeant that arrested Ricky Monday outside of my house because he was shouting drug dealer at the police. Remember, you guys remember Ricky Monday being arrested after he was calling the Inglewood police drug dealers?
Ricky Benzone?
Okay, wait, I have some facts wrong there.
Yeah, probably
Sam 41, I don't think he made the arrest. this is the sad part. He was actually helpful when I called. I'm like, hey, Rick's down there. I'm like, I'm sure he doesn't have his phone with him, so he's not going to be able to call me. He doesn't remember my number. So I'm like, can you give him my number, because I'm sure he's going to want to call me. He's going to need to talk to someone.
Call floods.
So
Raising money
741 was actually
while
helpful.
he's on
And since then, I did see him being violent or threatening violence one time. Since then, like 20 years ago, in a short amount of time, he shot like 3 innocent unarmed people. Very short amount of time, but he was new back then.
Oh, okay.
My point is, Sam 41, when I call the station, I have an issue, not just with Rick. He's one of my go-to guys. He's very helpful to me.
You guys are criminals.
But he's also been
arms.
dealing large amount of narcotics all over the fucking United States of America and posing as a cop.
Wow.
So
fucking yeah.
So what is
doing
a
wow.
person to do?
Is that what you just said?
I wrote all the way down here. Look, my arms, I got sweat on my forearms. I mean, I could knock on the door, try to tell them to let me in, but what are we going to talk about? Do you think they've known all along? Look, they knew even before I knew.
You're born.
I didn't know that the FBI was investigating them. I just knew they set off the alarm when they were taking drugs. I didn't know they were taking a kilo and delivering it. The same day that the alarm went off, about 8 hours later, is when the kilo of cocaine was delivered, and the FBI intercepted that kilo. So when I and get this, around 2000, and this is a lot to remember, right? Nobody's even following this story by now, are you? Is anyone possibly following this?
No.
It's hard for me to follow.
Yeah, it's hard for me. And
around 2012, they arrested me and they stole my video camera. And they altered the video. They deleted the end of it off, right? And then it took me I was down here for 2 weeks every day, threatening, I'm not leaving until you give me my camera. Give me my camera. Give me my camera. Because I don't have money. I still don't have money. But then I especially didn't have money. I cannot buy another camera. Like, I need my camera. I can't leave unless you give me my camera. Right? So they finally give it back to me. They cut the video in the middle, so I have to use the police report instead of the video evidence, which means they're going to convict me because the police are liars, and without video evidence, how am I going to defend myself? Let me tell you what I still remember the guy's name. His name is Sergeant. He said Sergeant Friesen. He said, like it's cold outside. Sergeant Friesen. He's retired. He's long since retired. 4:20 in the morning. But when I said you guys fucking you guys edited the video. I didn't even have another camera to record as I played it back. But as I played it back, the video stopped before I was even arrested. It's like I came up, I shouted a couple things at the cops, and then the video stopped a couple minutes before I was arrested.
Video to go back.
Obviously, when I'm recording the police,
I hope people
the camera's on. Why would I record the police with the camera that's not on? Obviously, the fucking camera was on. They not only did they turn it off, but they deleted the evidence that would have set me free. Dude. Okay, and here's the point I'm trying to get at. Yeah. When I fucking was shouting at him about how they did that, I'm like, you motherfuckers, you have no integrity, you scumbags. I'm shouting all this shit, and he said, call the FBI. That's what he told me to do, call the FBI. I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, can I at least use the payphone? He wouldn't not the payphone. Can I use I don't even have 25 cents to make a phone call. I'm not sure if there were still payphones back then or whatever. I just know that.
Really? Yeah.
The phone that I used to record, it's not even activated. It might have a camera in there, but I can't make phone calls with it.
That I can't remember.
I ride a bicycle. I record the police. I have no fucking income. Unless you let me use your phone, I can't call my attorney to tell him that you guys deleted my video.
25 cents or 10 cents?
They're like, no, tough
1-800 call.
Get out of here. Well, you're not invited. You can't stay here. And they said, if you still got a problem, call the FBI.
See, he's so, he just tells
here we are.
Yep.
I guess it's 9 years later, and I'm like, Rick.
9 years?
Let's call the FBI. They told me, I've been pissed about that. It's been going on a decade now. Let's call the FBI. So we called the FBI, right? We had to leave a couple messages. They called back. Rick was kind of explaining something, and then he handed me the phone. And the guy's like, well, he's like, He's like, May 4th was like however many months ago. He's like, how do you know
That's the first
that
donation.
the incident we're talking about, how do you already know the date that, how do you know that? I was like, because...
That's pretty sad. That's all he does it
because
for.
Deputy Kano...
That's all they
we
all
have
do.
other... This is not the only police incident we have going on. Deputy Kano
His next
nearly
thing will be
murdered a
full
guy
of-
on May
full
4th,
of- full of
2020. The day that the alarm went off, that was May 4th, 2021, the 1-year anniversary of when Christopher Bailey was nearly murdered for no reason. That's how we remember that
But you
day,
also did
because
the
it's
report.
significant to us. Nobody else in the world gives a fuck, but that day is
A day that
burned
you
into our
failed to
memories.
record any of it.
So we took down the information, and guess what? They didn't do nothing with it. They already know. Oh, and I forget to mention that they also came down here and raided I guess they raided the station, took all the cellular phones, they took all the laptops, they shut down the narcotics department.
Corn cob.
All of these things Mayor Butts adamantly denies, just like he denies ever paying anybody from his campaign fund. So I guess Johnny Bacchus, his team that robs people at routine traffic stops, that's probably something like he probably sports, he's probably a coach for like a little league baseball team. Maybe that's the team of people he uses to rob drug dealers and whatnot. His team of, 10-year-old baseball players. Now, I know that was what I just said, that was a tremendous amount to digest. And I don't expect any of you to digest it. But Inglewood Police Department has still not made a comment about the fact that they were distributing their narcotics that they seized. They're not, they seize them locally as far as I know, but they distribute them nationwide. And they're not gonna make a comment, okay? It's not gonna happen. But when most of what I record is the Los Angeles Sheriff Department, you look at these guys, how motivated they are. How does someone find the motivation to search innocent people all night long? I'd be embarrassed. Like, what motivates you to do that? Is it because, okay,
I'm
like,
sorry, I
maybe
lost
you
interest.
search every day all day long, and in 7
I
days
was
maybe you find something.
Lost somewhere where I didn't
And
understand.
that makes it all worth it, because
7
at that point, an
gigabytes.
innocent person or someone who you just stole from is maybe going to get a ticket. It's not even a felony anymore to have drugs.
Hour and
What is
12
the
minutes.
motivation to be searching
Filled
these
with
people?
all kinds of clips.
If the
This is
people searching
amazing.
are not taking 100% of the proceeds, then there's no fucking way they would be doing it. I'm lazy. Look, I'll run around and record the police. I would not spend my day searching 100 innocent fucking people in hopes that one day I find something. I would feel like a loser, like a guilty criminal. You're going to handcuff people, go through their belongings, even though you have no
Torture
reason
cop.
to suspect them of anything. Tell me the motivation isn't that they're 100% on the take.
100%.
There's no way to justify what they're doing unless they're stealing that for themselves.
This guy hurts my
And these are
brain.
things that I'm sharing with you that I'm probably not going to bring up again, and nobody will ever admit. The war on drugs is over, but we still have a war on robbing innocent people. And Johnny Bach is going to be coming back home with no criminal record. And his, like I said, according to 2 urban girls, his partner quickly retired. Another guy got pretended to be shot in the arm about a block from my house. And I documented that pretty well. When they see me coming down this, I came down the street with bare feet, and all the sirens woke me up, right? I'm walking down the street. I never seen the Inglewood police moving so fast. They tried to push me off that block so fast. Look, it's just a guy with a non-fatal wound. What's the problem? They acted like, I would say they seen a ghost, but that wouldn't even compare. And I didn't know until later, these cops that were trying to push me off the street so urgently, they were narcotics officers that were trying to push me off the street.
26 in the morning.
I don't know that the guy
on the
who
West Coast.
allegedly, shot himself in the arm with a medical retirement injury. I don't know if he's a narcotics officer or what, because Inglewood police don't talk about this shit. And the other thing is, I don't care about any of these things I'm talking about. I don't give a fuck. I don't advocate for people to go to jail. People should not be locked in cages. I said that on the way here. Suddenly it's important for Johnny Baca to get out of prison or not go to prison? What the fuck for? Because he's been robbing people, robbing innocent people and putting them in cages for 20 fucking years. So that entitles him to be set free. But everyone that he's locked up, they're not even going to review the records of all those people. He's killed people for no reason. That's a known fact. He shot innocent people. They might have been homeless, but so what? That doesn't mean you should be killing them.
It's fucking 4:30 in the morning. Shut the fuck up.
I don't give a fuck if Johnny Baca's dad fucking died of a painful death. I don't care how bad he suffered, but he didn't. He had polio. Who gives a fuck about your dad, Johnny?
What?
If you had said anything about the fucking people that you incarcerated, I would have had some respect for you.
Dude,
I still don't think you should suffer in prison. But what about the fucking people you sent there, loser?
You really are stupid, dude. You didn't defeat Johnny Baca. Johnny Baca defeated himself, I guess. I haven't been... You provided nothing that you solved that matter. Like, this is not a drop mic moment.
That's probably
is it?
Close to the end of the Tom Zebra show tonight. I think I said what was on my mind.
Oh, yeah, like Tom Zebra
Fortunately, I
show.
can keep it
Happy Fuck Eric Brandt show.
related to cops and try to keep it mostly off of anything that might be going on in my personal life.
Oh. You said a lot about what's going on in your personal life, that you're being thrown out of Jody's
I can't imagine
house.
what it might be like to have at the home, remember I said I wouldn't bring this shit up? I'm trying not to. But like a united front where, you're backing each other up.
Oh, okay.
Because I know you guys have seen me backing my partners, my associates. Anything happens to them, I'm on my way. I don't care if I'm on a bicycle riding across Southern California. If the police are fucking with you,
230 miles.
I'm on my way.
Yeah.
And guess what? I get your shit back, your property. I get the truth out there. And in return, going forward, we're going to be fair, right? Going forward. My nose is creaking, huh? I've been noticing that. I think I got my phone at the wrong angle.
Oh, yeah. See.
So I don't know. Am I going to call Inglewood Police? Probably not.
I have that fucking screenshot.
We already knew that they were stealing narcotics and selling them. The fact that he discussed giving 20% commission to anybody that tips him off, that changes nothing, because you know what? He probably doesn't even give, he's a liar. He doesn't give 20% commission. If he does, and it's substantial, I'm sure he steals it right back. Because that's what thieves do.
Jeez, shut up.
They fucking steal shit that doesn't belong to them. And when they are empowered under the law,
anytime you upload
and they can say any fucking lie they want,
it's subject to
and the courts will defend them no matter what, or pretend they don't know the truth. How do you suppose that's going to work out?
Great. Considering that you left Las Vegas with a convicted pedophile.
It's only a miracle that we even know about Johnny Baca. I'm shocked. Look, if they hadn't published this information about him, we would have never known that that May 4th incident where Inglewood police got caught stealing their own narcotics. They got caught stealing from themselves. I don't know how they set off their alarm,
got a bunch of bad
but they did.
Comments recently.
I want to tell you another detail about that.
There's a great
of all the police I've known from the city of Inglewood for all these years,
about him that he
I'm going to say the one that I'm not really close to any of them necessarily.
That's why he's spilling all the beans.
Okay, in my mind, I'm close to some of them. I don't go to Christmas dinner or nothing, but when we see each other, we're at least cordial.
Ugh.
I'm so fucking old, I feel like it's easier to walk up this little tiny hill. I've never walked my bicycle up this hill in my life.
Hey,
but right now I'm going to walk.
I want to go to sleep, bro.
The guy's name is Beak.
That's what these guys
Officer
do.
Beak.
That's what they do.
And look, while I'm fucking spilling details, I might as well keep spilling details. I don't like to
The
say
thing if they get me up at this point,
it's not easy doing the work that I do. First
like,
of all,
it's
because
gonna
the cops
fuck
will
my
kill
day
you,
up.
arrest you, do all this fucked up shit.
It
But
does.
if you survive all that,
But
you start to know the guys, you start to become friends. And who wants to fucking tell on their friends?
you two don't give a fuck
They don't
about
consider
these
me a
assholes.
friend. Look,
YouTube just
if there's any
lets
chance of them
these
putting me in jail, they're
idiots say
fucking
they
on
want
it.
to kill 25, 30
At least that's the way
cops.
it's been in the past. But
It's disturbing.
I don't remember
Fuck.
the year, but if you do a search for Inglewood police officers, somewhere around between 2000 and 2006, they made a task force to start trying to stomp out prostitution. They had these little signs they hung in the liquor stores. It says, if you get caught picking up a prostitute in the city of Inglewood, the room's on us. That's their little joke. The room is on us.
Huh?
And what they mean by that is, the room is on
Citation
us. You're going to be spending the night here in the police station if they catch you soliciting a prostitute.
Citation needed.
But guess how that worked out for them?
I don't know.
A couple years into this
Citation is needed.
operation, a bunch of Inglewood police got arrested because the feds just happened to come to town. They were investigating, I guess, some massage parlors. And as it turns out, the Inglewood police had been spending all their afternoons in these massage parlors with prostitutes.
Spin. This is exhausting.
Now,
dude.
I'm not saying Beak did that.
This is 8:45
All I know is
gigabytes,
Beak, his partner,
1 hour and 21 minutes.
his name, it's Officer Beak. I can't remember his first name, but I guess it's not important. Beak.
It's nothing you do is important.
Shit, I can't remember. There's a lot of cops to remember. Okay, but here's how it goes. The story. This is how the story goes. Officer
Listen
Beak
to
doesn't
your
rape these
own
hookers. Okay,
voice.
he waits in the car. His partner's the one that rapes the hookers. He goes up into the room. He rapes him at gunpoint, and Officer Beak knows nothing about it. He's innocent. He's just a cop waiting at the police car for his partner to come back. How would he have had any idea that his partner's up in there raping prostitutes? How could you possibly know that without X-ray vision, right? Right? Like, and plus Beak's my friend. I wouldn't
know.
suspect him of doing that. On the other hand, if you check my
I don't know what you're
videos,
talking about. You're so retarded.
see, now how is Beak going to be my friend in the future when I'm telling you these things? The only reason I'm telling you these things is because they're true. It doesn't prove anything.
Yes.
These are just details, okay?
What?
I think I don't know if it's the first time Laura met Officer Beak. It's the first time I remember
4 a.m. in the
introducing
morning.
Laura to Officer Beak. Okay, when Laura and I started recording,
Oh my god.
after I met her, she recorded for like 2 years without me because
Why?
this is going to be a shock to you guys. I know
The
you never
biggest
believe this,
meth
but before any of the
traffickers
current people in my
ever.
life, right? I had this girlfriend that was fucking
Laura
batshit
Ferraro?
crazy. Her name was Rebecca. And if she happens to
Oh,
see this video, she would
Rebecca?
probably come down here
What
and
about
cut my throat.
Wendy?
She's
What about Jody?
literally a psychopath.
Laura?
I don't know how I managed to, get free from that situation. I actually do know how, but I'm not going to explain it right now.
Dude, he still only has 80 people
But-
watching.
So Laura and I, we couldn't record because every time I would come back to my house, Rebecca would break. She would
Story
fucking
time.
throw my air conditioner. She would kick the air conditioner out the window. The TV would be smashed on the floor. She would steal my hard drives with all my work on them. And it would literally take me
Is that
months
where you got
of
the
begging
idea?
and pleading if I was lucky to get some of it back. Right? So, hey, Laura's great. She wants to record and shit. But I'm not willing to
Man, he's just
sacrifice my
dumping
life
on
to
all
go
his
record with a
friends.
stranger. Well, I would have been, right? I would have been.
I guess.
Just-
Laura Ferraro?
My girlfriend's a psychopath, and she's pretty good at destroying my life. So
Oh, Jody
that
Casillas?
shit's gonna have to wait.
Oh.
By the time Rebecca was gone,
Why does it have
2
to
years
wait?
had gone by.
Suspense is
Laura
killing
had
us.
filled up her whole channel with videos
What
without
happened?
any assistance from me. She knew all these LAPD cops that I didn't know any of their names. She knew all their names. I think the point I was making there is she
don't even know.
people. I think some people assumed that like I took her under my wing. I didn't.
Oh.
She did it all on her own. And by the time we got back together,
Having a falling out.
I don't mean together, not like that, but
Oh, but you intimidated
but I
like
mean,
her followers to
as
not
friends to record again. Mostly just associates.
harass her
Sometimes I'm
when
not
she
sure that we're even
filed
friends. I don't.
charges
I
on
don't
you.
think she likes me very. She's not very nice to me, but
Oh.
You guys might have to remind me of where I was going with that.
I don't know why any female would be nice to you, because any female with respect for themselves.
I don't think I made my point yet. Maybe I did.
Yeah.
Officer Beak, I think it's B-E-A-K. I think you might have spelled it wrong, but I could remember it wrong.
Yeah, because you're an idiot.
Oh, okay. This is why I brought up Officer Beak. So,
Officer Beak.
Out of nowhere, you know.
This is gonna be captivating.
Me and Beak always say hi, but he's like, "Hey, Daniel, he's like, I seen your video, you know, about the narcotics thing." He's like, I don't even think they have narcotics. I don't think they store narcotics there. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. I'm like, that's cool. He's like, yeah, and plus the alarm goes off all the time. I'm like, oh, does it? That's weird. Okay. He's like, yeah, the cleaning lady, you know, she's always coming through. She's always setting that alarm off. I'm like, all right, well, that's interesting because I've never heard that motherfucking alarm. Between me, Rick, Laura, Catman, our associates, we have 100 years of monitoring that radio, and not one time has it ever fucking gone off. I appreciate, Beak, I appreciate you doing,
here it is.
you know, fighting the fight
truth.
for your associates and stuff. I guess I would try to do the same for my associates, but you lied to me, Officer Beak. That alarm has never fucking gone off that I've ever heard, and it's been years since, and it still hasn't gone off. So, Officer Beak, why are you lying to me about that alarm? There's only one reason. Because you guys stole a kilo that night, and you delivered it straight to the fucking FBI like a bunch of...
Where's your evidence?
Idiots.
See, like... He doesn't even know, like...
Beak's still my friend.
Anyone who disagrees is a troll, but... Oh...
Jody
Cat Media, here, there she is.
It kind of pisses me off. They always take the guys that are close to me and send them in to do some fucked up. Like the people I'm closest with, they're the ones that will come out to the counter and lie to me because the watch commanders aren't going to do it. Anyone that's got any rank or status, they're like, just go tell them this. They're not in a position to say, fuck, no, I'm not going to do that. They have to do it, right?
He's a professional.
And some of them are dumb enough. They think, oh, I got this shit. Depending on what it is, I'll let it slide, but
you ain't letting nothing slide. It's 4:39 in the morning.
When it's something that's important, they get their fucking asses slammed.
Ice cream, dude.
Deputy...
I want to go to sleep.
Forget his name right now.
You're a fucking idiot. You're an asshole.
There's a deputy that tried to come out and stand up for the watch commander recently at South LA Station after Ian Fagino, ripped off this family for all their property, their freedom.
Right, your story times are so exhausting.
And he was shocked to find me standing in the lobby, cussing him out in front of the audience and recording it for me to publish later for his humiliation and embarrassment. Yes, that's what's going to happen. You don't think I'm going to keep that shit secret? That's what you get for defending a criminal watch commander, you fucking loser.
Oh, it's threats, dude. It's just threats. Like, this is what the Cop Watch committee, they lived up to this.
Our friendship is not so relevant that I'm going to forget about the crimes that I spent. It's not easy to bust a cop out here on a fucking bicycle.
So quick.
You spend the first 10 years accomplishing nothing and maybe the first 20 years. It takes a while before you start to figure out what's happening around you. And they might just fucking clobber you the first week and you never accomplish anything. I'm in no position to let shit slide. And especially because you motherfuckers don't even catch any discipline no matter what you do wrong. How am I going to look the other way? It's not going to happen.
You're on a bicycle, look the other way.
And I just got the post, and that's what this lawyer, she's saying, so she's telling Laura this. She's like, so you've recorded, you've posted 500 videos in however many years, and you don't blur their faces? No. Aren't you worried about their safety? What about the safety of their families? You don't blur their faces and blah, blah, blah. You know what else we don't do, Miss Weiss? We don't suck all their dicks. You know why? That's not helpful. That's why they're getting away with murder and all this shit, because all of you people, no matter what they do wrong, you keep sucking their dicks and telling them it's okay.
You're so infatuated.
What's going to happen when your family gets murdered? Is it going to be okay then?
That sounds like a
Because
threat.
guess what, Miss Weiss? There's deputies talking about you now. They're very irate and upset at the way my relationship and their relationship, how things have turned sour. They don't like when I bring shit up in front of their detainees.
Huh.
They don't like when I insult them, when I embarrass them.
Uh-huh.
And since you and I did this, since you deposed me, these deputies have been very unhappy.
Uh-huh.
Because all that shit, it was all, I said this earlier tonight. Is it water under the bridge? It's in the fucking past. Like,
No.
we hashed this shit out. They didn't get in trouble. I'm okay with it because I can't punish them. All I could do was what I did, and I did it, right?
Huh?
After Miss Weiss calls us liars, how are you guys? After Miss Weiss calls us liars and gaslights us and pretends like we're stupid and like we don't know anything and all this, guess what what do you think? I can't go to Miss Weiss's office and talk shit to her. I'll get arrested. So every deputy she defended and pretended was innocent to insult me in a video recorded deposition, that means every single one of those people I started over from scratch. I went to their face on the street and I insulted them all over again as if we never had discussed it.
Huh.
They're not happy about that shit, Miss Weiss. They've been making jokes about your car.
Everyone has
They're like, shit, I hope her brakes are working good. I'd hate to see something happen. If she were to have an accident, shit, I don't know how quickly I'd be able to respond, right?
You don't even know
You're
who
defending
has
these
that
murderers,
deposition.
and now they're making jokes about you dying. Just in case you were wondering, something to think about, dumb bitch. I just found out recently they've been making those kind of jokes about me the whole time, so you're most likely safe.
Uh-huh.
And plus, they're so incompetent and stupid that when they do try to kill you, if and when they do, usually they get the wrong person. That's been my experience. They get an innocent person, say a innocent father of 3 children, a single father of 3 children. That's the kind of mistakes they make. And these are the kind of people you're defending that are making jokes about you having bad accidents.
I know. It sounds hypocritical.
I know you don't watch my channel yet, Miss Weiss, so I'm mostly talking to myself right now, but you're starring in one of my upcoming videos, and this is going to be the biggest video I've ever released. It's a story about cops that have been murdering people and how their attorneys trying to defend them, and how she somehow thought it would be a good idea, like, just insult me and Laura. That will make sure that they're defended. You couldn't have picked the worst strategy.
Well, they're not reliable.
Because honestly, the deputies don't give a fuck about anything you do or say, right? They just don't want to hear about it.
This ice cream is
the
good.
path you chose, they've been hearing about it now for 9 months. And now, they're the ones talking about it and talking about you.
I'm eating ice cream at 4:45 in the morning.
I'm not saying you're in danger. I'm just saying you're fucking stupid. And you might be in danger at some point. Not from me. From the losers that you thought you were protecting.
Such a weirdo.
All right. I guess I vented.
Are you done?
I don't even know if I could say that I vented. I don't know. I was upset earlier. A lot of things. I might have been talking about this shit to just change the subject off of my, my personal problems. I guess it's late or early, and it's probably time for me to go home.
4:45 in the morning.
And I'm probably going to be in trouble when I get there. Morning. But I've been in trouble, I've been in trouble in my own home for, 5 years, 6 years. And here's the thing, I didn't do a fucking thing wrong. I spend my time helping innocent people that I've never met. And somehow, that means I've done something wrong.
Because you're a tweaker. You must have got some really bad comments in here.
And it's actually a lot worse. I think the only reason I'm talking about it right now is I'm more rational today. And I'm kind of coming out of this situation. I think before today, I wouldn't have been capable of even talking about it.
Oh.
And that's, I think the point.
Did talk about it.
I feel like that's important is if I can't talk about these kind of things, then how am I going to get over these types of things? If there's bad things happening to me and I'm not allowed to talk about it, that means I'm not getting over it. That means the shit is building up inside of me and it's getting worse. Okay, and that's what's been going on for a lot of years. And right now that just changed today. This is the first time I think that I've spoken about it. At least. So what's on your guys' mind? I'm gonna take a look at the comments here. Laughing my fucking ass off. Don't be laughing at me, Chris. Don't be laughing at me. Van Nuys, what's going on?
I don't see that comment.
Let me help. Chris, are you gonna help me? You're probably talking to someone else. I'm probably beyond help.
I thought you couldn't read.
Thank you, Coast Dwellers. Good to see you too. Yeah.
It's 4:47.
Well, I feel like I honestly feel like just. I mean, all the shit that wasn't about me, like that's not really helping me. But whatever. It's some things that need to be said, you know. As far as the police go, my beef right now is not with Inglewood Police, it's with the sheriff. But I did have some new information. I'm not sure if Rick is aware of these things I said. These are things that Rick and I have already disclosed, but now it's not coming from our mouths, it's coming from Baca's mouth. Well, according to his attorneys, that conversation wasn't recorded and those, you know, so like maybe those things weren't said, whatever. Bullshit. I can't believe Baca's proffer agreement is just complaining about his dad. And supposedly that relieves him from the mandatory minimum. Well, that mandatory minimum, that means all these other people in prison should be going home. Everyone's got a story about their dad, don't they? If not, they can make one up like Baca did. Right? Baca's story isn't... The truth is, his story ain't shit. He's privileged. He's always been privileged. He's been robbing people his whole fucking life and getting paid $170,000 a year to do it. Before he
how do you know that?
Has $4 million flow through his bank account.
How do you know that?
That's what, you know, supposedly in the year and a half leading up to his arrest, $4 million went through his bank account. Okay, he makes $160,000 a year. Maybe he invested it. I don't give a shit.
Proof. Where's the proof?
All I'm saying, this is what I'm going to keep saying about Baca. If I were Baca, I would start talking about the people that I arrested instead of talking about yourself. You know, because every single person that Baca arrested, these guys probably talk about themselves, right? That means Baca's no different than anybody he's arrested. Why are you talking about yourself, Baca? Are you that selfish? You don't even remember what you've done in the last 20 years as a narcotics officer? You guys weren't just robbing people, you were killing people. And robbing their families? Citation
needed.
Someone said, if you listen to me, no clout, you will not go to jail. If you're talking, why would I go to jail? I'm not going to jail anyways. These cops are scared to talk to me. They're not arresting me.
Really?
On the other hand,
is that why you're under investigation?
I did get set up on May 8th, about a year ago. Was it 2 years ago? You guys probably remember I had a 3 or 4 day trip to the Hawthorne jail. Some people, I knew there were some people saying shit about me that wasn't true, but the way it was very clever, the way they put these things together in a way that I would have believed it too. If I was the one hearing this shit, I would have been like, oh man, Daniel's a motherfucker. I can't believe he's doing all that, right? The reason these stories were clever is because Olivia Weis, the bitch who just deposed us, they tried to get me arrested for domestic violence before the depositions come up. Not that I would still be in jail, but they would at least be able to say I have a criminal record. Like I'm a criminal. I did something to be arrested.
You do have a criminal record. It's 4:51 in
Withholding
the morning.
Laura's video from Christopher Bailey is a crime that requires 3 years in prison for the prosecutor that did it.
I'm eating a fucking Haagen-Dazs.
Olivia Weis sucking all these cops. Do I have to call it a penis so it's not a bad word?
How can those caramel
She's not
come?
supposed to have sex with her clients
How can those caramel come?
unless that a sexual relationship started before the attorney-client relationship. I don't know what the jail sentence is for having sex with your clients, but Olivia Weis probably does.
Oh, that's smart.
Or if not, she should probably look into it. But of course, just like the 3 years for withholding the video, these crimes are never. California made a law in 2016 about you're not allowed to withhold evidence from a defendant that would set the defendant free. If you do, then that requires either 16 months, 2 years, or 3 years. There's 3 options. Either way, any of those options means you go to jail, right?
So how long are you
California
going to jail?
is the first state to have enacted a law to put a stop to all these cops withholding the truth from the people they're sending to prison. How many prosecutors do you think have prosecuted themselves for withholding evidence from the innocent defendants they send to prison? Can anyone guess? I want to read the comments here. Can anyone guess we're the first state in the country to make a law against that? How many people or how many prosecutors do you think have arrested themselves and sent themselves to prison? Very good.
Not
exactly.
Enough.
0. And they do it. I don't know of any case that's involved me. There's never been a case that involved me where they don't destroy the evidence. It's funny that they make a law. They're like, oh, yeah, we won't do that anymore because that could land us in jail. Yeah. Yeah, it could.
He's weird. He's a weird dude.
If what?
It was like 5 in the morning.
Police don't arrest themselves. Prosecutors don't arrest themselves.
I'm eating Haagen-Dazs.
And they do not disclose any evidence.
It's good.
And we're talking about Christopher Bailey, this thing that Laura and I were deposed for. Nobody was at risk of going to jail. The only person that was going to go to jail was Christopher Bailey. Because they were framing him.
Citation needed.
They withheld Laura's video for years. I guess it was like a year and a half. Laura went and did an internal affairs complaint, like an official complaint.
Such a liar.
Where they explained to her, we're not going to protect you. She's like, what do you mean we're not going to protect you? We're going to give this information to the police that you're telling on. They're going to have access to it. They're going to know your home address. They're going to learn your phone number. We're not protecting you in any way, shape, nothing. So you want to do this complaint? Fine. But we're giving it directly to the people that you're telling on. So Laura was hesitant, but she's like, well, fuck. What's the alternative? How much time has gone by? They won't tell us Christopher Bailey's. They won't tell us who the victim is, despite the law says they have to, right? So she's like, fuck it.
What?
And they're like, okay, well, you can't do it at the local stations. What do you mean, the local stations? You're going to have to drive an hour and a half to this remote building. That's where we're going to do the interview. We're not going to do it at South LA or anywhere in LA. You're going to have to drive to a faraway location in traffic to do the interview.
Oh.
What the fuck is that? They are on the clock. They could drive to South LA, or they could have somebody that already works in South LA that's sitting on their ass doing nothing. Because all we're doing is dropping off a video, right? A video that they've had from the internet the entire time.
Where is this video?
We're trying to make sure this. Why is this video not getting to this person's attorney?
Where is this video?
And after she did that
this video, it's
interview with Internal Affairs, they still didn't give him the video. But you know what did happen? They started sending a bunch of packages to her house, COD. In other words, packages you didn't order that the person delivering it is expecting you to pay for. Just in case we thought the Internal Affairs was lying, they made sure to let us know
5 o'clock in the morning.
that they really did give the address to the gang member cops that were murdering people. And that's why you're getting all these packages delivered to your house now.
Oh my God, please shut up. Please shut up.
You're telling me to listen?
Of your life.
Chris, I'm sorry, I'm not following the, what am I going to listen to? This is shit that this has been going on for decades. It's not, they don't do it to me because they know I don't care. They can't do it to me. They can't scare me because I'm standing behind them anyways. If they want to arrest me, that's all they could do. But they're not going to be able to intimidate me. Congratulations, Chris. That's what I'm talking about. That's what these people are doing to everybody, especially if you're black. Are you black? That's the people that seem to be taking the most of the punishment.
Huh.
You won't listen because I'm the same. I'm listening right now. You got to catch me when I'm listening, when I'm looking. You're telling me they're nasty. Yeah, they've murdered many people in my neighborhood. I've caught them murdering people in my neighborhood. They continue murdering people in my neighborhood. Haven't. I continue to catch them. Now they're selling drugs and
you never caught one.
I know they're nasty. In 2012, they murdered an innocent father of 3 on his bicycle. They ran him over on the sidewalk. After threatening me, they were threatening to kill me. Hours before that, I was like 100 yards away. 2 guys with purple bikes, and they fucking ran over the wrong one. You're white.
Should have been you.
So am I.
I think they're so clever. They're so predictable.
Are you talking about me that loves them? You mean because I said I'm friends with them? Yeah. They don't invite me over for Christmas dinner, but yeah, we're friends.
Not at all. I'm almost done of this Haagen-Dazs caramel cone. I didn't expect
That's Chris. That's what happens when you live in the hood. That's what's supposed to happen. Of course, they beat you unconscious. If you don't want that to happen, you gotta, suck their dicks. I think that's the only way out of it. Oh, maybe you're talking to someone else?
Here's some bachelor yesterday. This ice cream is good.
I'm sorry, I've been out of the. I didn't really follow the conversation. I just was talking about my own things.
Woo! Waffle cone. What's so much better than the?
I do appreciate you guys joining me.
Ben and Jerry's.
I've always pretty much, let the cops know where I live because sometimes I feel like I'm a little safer that way. They tend to not come on my block, to be honest with you. They don't come to my block.
So
if they can avoid it, which they always find a way to avoid it. But when they're going to set me up, which they do, not if they don't know where I live, that doesn't delay me being arrested or anything else. If they want to know where I live, it's not hard for them to figure it out. Wasky. There's a familiar name. Let me tell you, Wasky,
So
living alone is how I didn't just live alone. I was like it was worse than that. I was in like a shack in the backyard of the guy who got murdered, like after they...
Tell us the story.
It's been 10 years, I still can't really talk about it.
Yeah. Dramatic.
Or if I do, I can't be live. Like I could do it in little phrases and then try to patch it together, but I can't really talk about it without getting emotional. But that's not just this one topic. That's a lot. Anything that's important to me is really hard.
Nothing is important to you. That's the problem.
I think the way Laura describes it, I think she calls me a pussy. I think that's basically the way she explains it. But maybe that's helpful.
Wow,
for
Laura,
you to understand what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm at that point in the ice cream where I'm like, do I finish it? The whole pint? Or do I freeze it and risk freezer burn? I think I risk it. because it's rich. It's
But I
5 in
haven't-
the morning.
Before tonight, I feel like I might have been live. I went live a couple months ago, and just by coincidence found Officer. Can't remember. I was gonna say the guy
You
that
don't
killed.
remember? Why you do this then?
You know, I mentioned him earlier. I was like, this is probably going to be nothing. Just haven't seen you guys in so long. And then there he was, Officer. Someone's going to tell me the name because I know you guys know it.
I know it. Do you
I'm
know
not even
it?
at the end of the chat.
Are you dumber than me?
Shit. Can we talk? We're talking right now, aren't we?
What's it? Ortiz?
Love Mechanics. What's up? Yeah, no, Kano's, no, Kano's the sheriff guy that kills people. I was talking about the Inglewood guy that kills people. Yeah, different guy. Swanson. His name is Swanson. And in his defense, like he called for backup, which he shouldn't have done. The guy's talking to him, you can see this guy, first of all, he doesn't trust the police, and probably for good reason. You know, he's probably had a few bad experiences before they murdered him. But it was like Swanson is different because he asked Swanson what his name was, and Swanson answered. He said, Swanson. And he said, nice to meet you, Swanson. But instead of continuing the conversation, he walked to his car and said, I'm going to use force. And I know I said that earlier, which isn't fair to keep repeating it, but the point I'm getting at is when his backup arrived, so like now without any explanation, they're like trying to tackle the guy or put whatever, they're trying to just grab him without any notice. And so like he was scared, he backed up. His backup, the guy that was backing him up, tripped and fell down, right? As he's falling down, he decides he's going to pull his gun out. Why are you pulling your gun out as you're falling down? So now the gun is like, right, it's not in stable hands. This guy can't even walk without tripping over himself. And now that he's pulled out his gun, I think he almost either handed it to the guy that they killed. If he didn't hand it to him, he like dropped it in his direction and it fell on the ground, something like that. But the one thing that didn't happen is this guy did not, they claimed that he ripped the holster off of the police officer's belt, had the time to get the gun out of the holster, which the gun it doesn't even come out of the holster if you don't know how to remove it, okay? None of these things happen. And the holster doesn't rip off of your belt, off your utility belt. That's impossible. But,
why? Because it's closed.
But I guess that's just how cops are in this country. They will not admit fault under any circumstances, I guess.
You claim that you solved that, but
if they do admit fault, they call it inadvertent, and only if it's a way of putting you in prison.
Wow, that's just ignorant.
I should be following the conversation because I've said anything I might have had to say. You a cop out of Torrance named Martinez. What about Martinez? Let's see.
Alex Pujo grabbed the gun.
Most wanted 562. You a cop out of Torrance named Detective. You're asking me, do I know Mick Martinez? I don't know the name. Doesn't ring a bell.
To suit your own narrative, like chili. Because you're a piece
Martinez.
of shit. And I'm almost
shit.
done with
I know. I know.
ice cream.
It seems like I know several Officer Martinez. If there's one in Torrance, it's been so long since I've been. You might even be talking to someone else. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or what. I haven't been recording the Torrance police since they murdered a long time.
Long time.
You're asking me about Martinez? Shit, I can't recall off the top of my head. I don't remember. I'd probably have to ask Catman or something. If there's a Martinez there, I'm sure we've known him and stuff, but it's been years. I don't remember anymore. I have blood all over my head. What are you talking about? Well, okay, I think I've not followed the conversation very well. I feel like I'm not. and not understanding what we're talking about. If you guys have any kind of question or statement or something, and I'm not following the conversation since I'm so busy talking to myself, if you need to reach me, my email is tomzebra84@gmail.com. And like that way I could try to read the question and understand what you're saying. And then, you know, if it's about Torrance Police, I'm probably not going to have a lot of answers. Just because I don't remember. I think I haven't really been spending time recording Torrance since 2018. That's a lot of years. Like I'm not going to remember, you know, their names very well at this point. This way. Oh, too early in the morning? Yeah, I'm not sure what you're saying.
Yeah, it's 5:07 in the morning.
Yeah, and look, I appreciate you guys listening to me because, like I said, I'm probably getting my ass kicked when I get home.
I finished the whole pint.
I'm just kidding about that, but you know, but not 100% kidding about that. Hopefully all that shit's like more in the past than in the future, because I think I'm done really putting up and participating, you know.
Oh no, that's only.
I've lost the ability to be concerned with any stupid comments coming my direction from, you know, the location that I live, because it's, you know, you could spend a lot of time trying to understand and like trying to make sense of shit, but at some point you just realize the person that's saying these things is not trying to make sense or taking advantage of you being thoughtful and trying to, you know, because if the person talking to you is not making sense, that means they got problems. They might need your help. But sometimes they don't need your help. Sometimes they're just fucking wasting your time.
I know.
And it's called gaslighting. It's called gaslighting.
Wait, what?
It's not a nice thing to do to somebody that's supposed to be not even a friend. Fuck, could just be a roommate and an acquaintance. If you're taking the time to gaslight somebody, that's like, this is somebody that you're treating them like an enemy to try to gain something from them, to manipulate them, right? Isn't that what that means?
No, it's not what
Yeah. JT, how are you, JT? I seen your name a couple times. I meant to say hi. I mean, there's so many things that I haven't had a chance to talk about, like Eric Brandt. I mean, there's an endless amount of things, and that's why it's so important that I shouldn't have to take time out to talk about fake shit or to have to bring my fake shit to you guys, and you know, to have an ear to listen to me, you know what I mean? Like, I've been dealt a serious disservice. Like, more than 5 years of my life I spent trying to keep this fake shit to myself, because how am I going to bring you guys a bunch of fake shit? I'm trying to record the police and bring you guys real shit.
Think so?
But on the down low, I'm having to put up with all this fake shit.
You are fake. You don't like being called out for your bullshit.
And so did I. Look, you know, it wasn't a choice for me to stop. Look, this is how I kept my sanity, being out here talking to you guys. It wasn't my choice to stop, you know, but that's how things affected me. I ended up just isolating. And I think this is something else that happens when you're being gaslighted. The people the person that's gaslighting you, they undermine your relationships. They don't need to gaslight you necessarily, right? Because you know what the fuck's going on. They're not trying to convince you of shit, but they convince the people around you, right? Because nobody's gonna convince me that I'm fucking crazy and don't know what's going on. But it's not so hard to say, make Laura think some shit, or Rick, or whoever.
Oh yeah, it's always
maybe Laura's the only one that I know of that really fell for it, but probably because I don't have any friends, right?
You don't. That's what's sad.
But yes, they they make sure that you don't have any friends to turn to, right? And look, I literally have been told for years now, like, I'm not allowed to talk to the one or two friends I have. I'm not allowed to talk about these things. Like who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you to tell me what I'm allowed to talk about to the one or two friends I have? Let's be realistic here for a minute, okay? I'm gonna be fucking painfully honest right now.
Listen to your own words coming out of your mouth.
It's not like you're the fucking beauty queen of the world, right? And like, I'm so fucking in love with you because you're the most beautiful princess to walk the earth.
Wow.
I'm almost on the border of saying something that's not fucking nice at all, but look. Nobody else is gonna be patient and treat you the way I fucking treated you. Not only do you not deserve it, Jesus Christ, you're no fucking gym lady. I'm compassionate.
Rent-free.
I'm thoughtful. You don't have to be beautiful for me to treat you like you're beautiful. Find some other motherfucker on this planet that's gonna treat you like that while you shit all over him. And I guess that's why I'm a good target, right?
No, you're a
So
terrible
much for,
target. Nobody
not bringing that
likes you.
shit
Nobody
up.
knows who you are. You're a narcissist.
But what's the fucking difference? What's the difference? No one else is gonna be nice to you the way I was. Look in the fucking mirror.
Huh?
Jesus Christ. I said it.
This guy is not
I said it. It's
nice.
fucking true. Okay, I said
I can
it.
bring up thousands of videos of him not being
It doesn't
nice.
matter if you're pretty, ugly, whatever. You're supposed to be a good person. That's fucking what matters to me, is if you're a good person. I don't care how ugly you are or how beautiful you are. If you're a good person, we can work it out.
You're a fucking criminal.
What if you're not
fuck.
a good person and you're not
You're
very
a-
good on the
and
outside?
you're
Then what?
tweak. You're a tweaker.
Then you're gonna have a hard time finding a motherfucker that treated you the way I did. And now you can move out tomorrow and say I hurt your feelings, but fuck you, at least I didn't rob you blind and do all the awful shit and
What?
lie and gaslight you, so
You
sayonara,
did rob
sweetheart.
me.
Don't break my shit on the way out the door. It's the only thing that's left to argue about. Just go. If that's what you're doing, I don't care anymore. What's that one song? I want to play some Phil Collins.
Jody breakup?
It's been a long time since I cared, but I have a hard time.
Uh-oh.
I have a hard time, like, you know, I don't treat people badly. According to her, I do. I treat her, you know, terribly, but whatever. Fuck it, I might as well keep going while I'm talking about the truth. On top of, okay, she did help me. Look, she supported me for like the last year or whatever.
Jody did? She paid for all your rent?
Right, but the only reason I wasn't supporting myself is like her fault. But I'm not gonna go there with that.
Yeah, please don't. You've already said enough.
Okay, I can't say what I was gonna say.
You said enough.
I can't give you guys that much honesty. That's my personal life that's irrelevant. I'm gonna start peddling again.
Quit beating up on Jody. I don't even like Jody, but I know that you beat up on her.
She tricked my mother into helping us, okay? Because we needed some help. I wasn't about to ask my mom for help because like we're at a point where, okay, I no longer trust you. I'm not going to ask my mother to help you and I because I don't know that I want to help you at all because of the awful things you've been doing, right? So she, I don't know how she did it, but she cozied. I ain't even talking to my mother because I'm not trying to bring. My mother lives in a different state. If shit isn't working out where I'm at, I don't call my mom and tell her these things because she's like me. She's emotional. If I tell her some things that aren't good, she'll be crying. I don't want to do that to her, right?
This is disturbing, Daniel.
But you know, so my
People
girl
who
did
follow
these
Daniel
things,
need to really
and then
reconsider,
I was like,
man.
Mom,
This dude is not well.
look, I don't want you to.
right?
You can't help me right now because I'm not in a position where you can help me.
I can't
If you help me right
look away
now,
from this disaster.
in a week from now,
that is Tom's
I'm going to be worse off than I was, and then I'm going to have to call you and ask you
Like,
for
but
help because
I
that's
still
what I
want
think
him
is
to
happening. This woman right now
be
is
around
trying to
his
trick you
child, Phoenix.
because she wants you to pay for something, and once you pay for it, it's going to be no benefit to me. In other words, you're not even, just don't do it. Don't do it, right?
Wow, there's some inner
So we
turmoil
waited like
going
a
on
month.
between him and
Maybe
Jody
it was
Cat.
3 months. We waited. I think I've been good about not mentioning names. I'm still not mentioning names. This girl, I'm not going to say she behaved herself because she didn't. She don't have that in her nature, right? But
wow, dude, you're just.
But she played it off as good as she could.
You have so much drama.
She even found a place that was way fucking overpriced. Now, there's no way I could afford this place. Look, we couldn't afford the shit we had before. This costs way more than that. We can't afford this place either. Obviously.
Wow, you really are telling on yourself.
But my mom fucking,
God dang.
you know, she's not struggling. But that's besides the point. I make a point to not ask her for money, because what's going to happen someday? I might need money. I'm not going to just call her and ask her for money, especially not
2 hours and 5 minutes
under these kind of circumstances.
12.4.
We didn't make it the first night. We moved into this fucking place. The sun didn't come up before her true colors started coming out. And immediately, like, she behaved herself just to fucking pull a fast one.
I want to go to bed.
Like, this is so hurtful to say all these things, right? It's so hurtful. Yeah, imagine if you're on the fucking shit end of that stick, how hurtful it is.
Talking and talking.
And at this point, it's not even hurtful anymore. It's not even. This was never about love, ever. It was never about love. I don't have to love you to live with you. We don't have to pretend to be in love, to be roommates, or any of that shit. I don't know why some women like to lie and pretend like they're in love. I guess, I don't know, maybe they feel like it gives them some kind of power or some shit. But if you take a picture of me and you and you set it in the living room, and then you get this little thing that says love and you set it in front of the picture, that doesn't make me think that we're in love. I'm fucking 50-something years old. I know what love is. That's when I'm like in a really vulnerable position with some woman that doesn't feel the same way as I do. I know that feeling. I've been in it. That's my version of love. That's not what's going on here, and that was never what was going on here. This has all been manipulation since the start, and I think that's like probably a pattern that this young lady has been using her entire life. And I don't know why I thought maybe she could grow out of it, but God, maybe she will. It's just not going to be with me. If she does grow out of that type of thing, it's going to be some other place with some other person. And I still haven't done a single thing wrong to her. But holy shit, my house is probably lit on fire right now. Burning to the ground. I'm just kidding about that. My previous girlfriend, though, she would have done some shit like that. Rebecca, it's always a pleasure to come home.
Rebecca Wendy?
I'm going to tell you guys something about that. But I didn't, just in the last week, I realized something that I didn't know.
It's only fucking 5.
This previous girlfriend I had, I guess she was, I know she was like looking at for some reason, my girlfriends like to look at my videos. Like, I mean, I have, like, it would take you 25 years to look at the videos that I've recorded, but at the end of those 25 years, I would have 25 more years of videos. So you can't possibly watch the videos and catch up and be current. There's no way to do that. It's impossible, right?
Yeah, because you have such a
But
wonderful
for some reason,
library.
these girls think that
Everyone
they're going to do that.
You are.
And they think there's something in there.
Earth
And this has been going on. This has been going on since like 2000. For 23 years, I've had consistently girlfriends that are looking through my shit, looking for something that is not there.
Yeah.
And they never like look and go, oh, good. I'm so relieved. He's actually not a bad guy. He's not doing. He's kind of stupid. He's a little bit quirky. Acts like a retard, but he's not malicious. He might say things that are nice occasionally, but they're true, and he's not cheating or doing any kind of fucked up shit like that. They never ever look at these videos and come to that kind of conclusion.
He's a journalist,
what happens is
folks.
They invest 5 or 10 years looking at these videos, and they realize they're falling behind. They can't possibly catch up to what's current.
Why would anyone want to catch up to you?
And instead of learning from their mistakes, I can't really explain it. I just know if you have a woman that's like reading your emails, looking through, if you are a photographer and she's looking through all your videos, that's a situation that you should just kick her out on the first day. As soon as you see that shit's happening, Throw that bitch out because it's only going to get worse.
Is that what Jody's
doing? And at the
too?
end, she's going to be breaking your stuff and be mad at you because she invested, 10 years into looking at your shit when there was nothing there? Is she going to be like, oh, I'm so sorry for violating your privacy? Fuck no, she blames you for that. She blames you for being innocent.
He's telling a huge story right
How about that shit?
I can't
Thank
wait
God
to
I'm too busy recording the police and don't have 20 years to invest snooping on an innocent person that didn't do anything wrong, because that'd be a shitty place to be, wouldn't it? Man, I got a lot of shit off my chest tonight.
Yeah, you gave me plenty of material for decades.
Well, look. Okay, for boundaries. You're right, boundaries. But, Sassy Hellcat, you probably are my friend. I mean, right? We're all friends here, but I think for some reason my personality or my lifestyle.
He's gonna attack Jody now.
I'm probably dysfunctional in some way that attracts
tell people to
functional
unsubscribe
people,
from
but the best way I can explain it, the women that I pursue that become my girlfriends, they've always been very honorable women. The relationships last for a very long time, and somehow after years I fuck it up and it's my fault. Okay? The women that pursue me, that I end up in those relationships, those relationships are always fucked up from the first day, full of lies, and these women act like I'm doing something wrong. They don't fucking trust me, but I think that's the complex they have because they're fucking liars. They know they're liars, and so they think everyone else is a liar too, and they don't realize that it's just them. Does that make any sense? I think that's I could be wrong, but that's the way I understand it at this point.
It doesn't make any sense.
Are you talking to me about blowing a gasket? You ain't even seen me excited yet.
But you've told on yourself like several times.
I'm not blowing a gasket, bro.
Yeah.
This is like the
blowing a gasket.
I'm outside, I'm talking. This is the most healthy I've been in a long time. Definitely this year.
Yeah, drink water.
I was getting sick towards the end of last year.
So you can replace that whole image.
And then I got, I was literally sick. I don't know what the problem was. I got to where I couldn't eat. If I even thought about eating, if I put a piece of food in my mouth, I would I don't know why, I would choke. Like I couldn't hardly eat. It was...
Sure it wasn't all the dicks.
I think somehow the sleep apnea just I kept getting sicker. Every day I was sicker. And without any ability to get quality rest, I wasn't getting better. Something like that. But my battery
I can't
just
remember that
it gave me a warning. The light did.
And there it is. There's the end of the stream, folks. There it is. Bye-bye. Let's hit refresh one time. Let's just end it there.